What's up, everybody? Sean here for Week 6 picks. Last week I went 3-1. That brings me to 13-7 on the year, which is a pretty good record against the spread. I am 3-2 on my lock of the weeks. Week 6 total over the last 4 years, I am 7-7-2, so I'm right at 50%. I am 2-1 on my lock of the weeks and 0-0-1 on my offset specials, which we did back in 2011. All right, to get into the quick picks, I like the Broncos -4 over Cleveland, the Bears +3 over the Lions, the Seahawks -7 over the Panthers, and my lock of the week is the Cardinals -3 over the Steelers. Okay, so now that I've got that out of the way, I'll go into a little more details on the picks. Now, bear in mind here, I am not giving any DraftKings advice this week because, frankly, I haven't done well in the DraftKings advice anyway, so you probably don't want it, whereas I'm 13-7 against the spread, so I'm going to continue to give that advice to you guys. All right, let's start with the Broncos -4 over Cleveland. We have a 5-0 team versus a 2-3 team with only a 4-point spread. I like my chances already. Denver has covered the last 4 head-to-head against the spread and 5 of the last 6, and Denver has covered 4 of 5 games against the spread this year. So let's go with Denver -4. My second pick is going to be the Bears +3 over the Lions. Basically, this is kind of just one of those feeling games, like I told you a couple weeks back with the Rams and the Cardinals. I feel like the Bears are probably going to win this game outright, so we're getting on plus points. I like it even more. The Lions just absolutely suck. They're averaging like 49 yards on the ground, which is pathetic. And also the Bears have covered against some of the lesser teams they've played, like the Lions, whereas they haven't covered against the Cardinals, Seahawks, and Packers. They're some of the elite teams in the NFL. Also, the quarterback play is heavily in favor of Chicago here, as Jay Cutler is doing way better this year than Matthew Stafford is. So again, take the Bears +3 over the Lions. I like the Seahawks -7 over the Panthers. Again, here we have a rare situation where we have an undefeated team playing like a 2-3 team. I think the Seahawks are, and I think the Panthers are 4-0. And yet the Seahawks are -7. I mean, that tells you a lot right there with that spread. Since Cam Chancellor has been back, the Seahawks have been sort of a different team. They've been really good. Seattle has covered 4 of the last 5 head-to-head against the spread. Carolina's gotten to 4-0 by beating some horrible teams, and I just don't believe that they're that good of a team. I really like Seattle here -7. Let's roll with it. For my lock of the week, Cardinals -3 over the Steelers. Arizona has covered 3 of the last 4 head-to-head against the spread. Arizona has been running over teams this year. I mean, they're just running all over them. It's like 42-7, 42-14. They've had a bunch of games like that, and then that little weird game against the Rams, which I called, where the Rams actually ended up winning. Or did they win? Jeff, let's go to the tape. Jeff, did the Rams win against the Cardinals? He's horrible. I can't bring anyone in for help here.
Cardinals won.
But then they won by like 2. It was a 2-point game. Anyways, Pittsburgh is not the same team without Big Ben, obviously. Big Ben was averaging like 10 yards per pass, whereas Michael Vick is averaging like 6 point something. It's almost, half of a drop. What's that? You think Pittsburgh's going to win?
Yep.
Jeff back here thinks Pittsburgh is going to win. We'll give you his picks later. So Pittsburgh again against the Rams defense, who is the only tough defense they've played since Michael Vick has taken over. They scored 12 points. They won 12-6. Arizona's defense is a tough defense as well. I don't think Michael Vick's going to be able to move the ball on them. 12 points is not going to be enough to beat this Arizona offense because unlike the Rams offense, Arizona actually has an offense, whereas Nick Foles and the Rams offense is like, they just haven't been very good. I mean, look at last week, Nick Foles throwing 4 picks. I mean, it was an easy cover I had for that game. It could have been 4-0, but I digress. All right, so that's the picks for the week. Again, no DraftKings this week. Make sure to stay tuned next week. And you know what? Jeff's here. I might even have Jeff film some picks for you guys so you can get a second take on the games. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
Hello there. Time for my picks. So, Bronco -4 over Cleveland.
Who are you?
I'm the mysterious guest, Jeff. And the Broncos are not going to cover. They may win the game, but they're not going to cover the spread. Cleveland is a hot team. Broncos have just been getting by with their defense. I don't see it this week. The Bears are going to destroy the Lions. You can expect multiple picks from whoever's the QB. Again, that QB situation is awful. So Bears will win and they will cover. The Seahawks will win, but they won't cover. They're not going to cover -7 over the Panthers. Panthers may have been playing some poor teams, but they've still been playing well. And Cam Newton's been playing really well this year.
Will Cam Newton crash his truck again?
He may crash, but he's going to throw a touchdown for every crash he makes. And finally, that brings us to Cardinals and Steelers. Everybody will say the Cardinals are going to cover and win. I'm going to go with the Steelers. Coming off that hot win, Martavius Bryant is back. They want this one badly.
Is it going to be a real
Steelers
dogfight?
are going to win. They're going to cover. And that is my picks for the week.